In this series of devotionals, we're talking about how you can become a person of influence, a VIP, a very influential person. And we're seeing three things. We're seeing that people who influence others know where they're going, they know who they are, and they know why they're here. The V is for vision. People who influence others know where they're going. The I, what's the I for in VIP? Some people might think it's intellect, because knowledge is power. So if you want to influence other people, just know more than they do about a certain circumstance or situation. Other people think that I ought to stand for intensity, passion, that spirit of conquest. But you know what? I'm convinced that the I in VIP ought to stand for integrity. If you want to be a person of influence, you don't just know where you're going. You got to know who you are. You got to be a person of integrity. I've known a lot of people with a lot of intellect that along the way of life, it was shown that they had little or no integrity, and they're no longer in the race, not influencing anyone. I've known people of intensity and passion and leadership ability, but along the way, they had no integrity, and God put them on the shelf. Integrity is your most vital ingredient to being a person of influence. You live in four worlds when you think about it. You have a private world. No one goes into your private world except you. Your wife doesn't go there. Your husband doesn't go there. They don't know all those thoughts that you have, nor aren't we glad in many cases. You have a private world, and no one lives in your private world except you and God, who searches our hearts and knows our anxious thoughts. And then in this concentric circles, you not only have a private world, you have a personal world. And in that world, you live with a few close people, your husband, your wife, your kids, your mom, dad. And if you're fortunate in life, maybe 2 or 3 people outside your immediate family who really know you like you really are and live in your world of personal world of close, dynamic, interpersonal relationships. Then you've got a third world. And that's what we call our professional world. That's where people that don't know us privately or personally, they know us professionally. They've met us. Maybe we've made a sales call to them. And in that world, some of us know dozens, scores, some of us hundreds of people in the professional world. And then there's one other world in which you live, and that's your public world. That's that world where someone doesn't even know you professionally. Maybe they've heard your name, and for some reason, some way, they've formed an opinion about you one way or another. So if we live in those four worlds, it begs the question, where do you root integrity? If you're going to be a person of influence, you've got to be a person of integrity. You've got to know who you are. So where's it rooted? Strangely, some people think that integrity is rooted in the public world. So they spend most of their time spinning their public image, trying to get people to see them for something that they may not be. But integrity is not rooted in the public world. It's only revealed there. And you know what I found out after decades of Christian experience? Whether you have it or not, ultimately will be revealed publicly. So integrity is not rooted in the public world. It's only revealed there. So you say, oh, it's rooted in the professional world where they're on the anvil of personal experience. We beat out those principles of integrity. No, it's not. It's only reinforced there. If you have integrity, it'll be reinforced in how you deal with other people in the workplace and your professional world. You say, so it's rooted, must be rooted in those close interpersonal dynamics of those close relationships. But it's not. It's only reflected there. In fact, if you want to know if I have integrity, ask my wife, Susie, who's lived with me for 48 years. Integrity is rooted in the private world. And you know what happens when you get alone with God and you root your integrity there in the private world? It starts being reflected in the personal world with those around you that know you best and love you most. It starts being reinforced in the professional world where you are without you even thinking about it. And ultimately, it'll be revealed in the public world for the glory of God to be seen through your life. You know, there are a lot of big skyscrapers here in Dallas that are piercing the heavens, 30 and 40, all the way up the tollway. You see these new skyscrapers. And maybe you've heard a contractor or an architect or a building superintendent point to one of those buildings and say, that building has structural integrity. What do they mean? They mean that those 40 stories of steel and glass glistening in this Texas sun stand there because of its hidden life, that down deep into the ground, deep into the bedrock, hundreds of feet, that huge foundation has been poured with thousands of tons of concrete and steel. And that building stands there because of its hidden life. Yes, it has structural integrity. People of influence, they don't know just where they're going. They know who they are. They're people of integrity. Root your integrity in that private world alone with God.